You'll get them. It's fine. Busy, aren't you?
Yeah, I pretend to be. Okay, so we'll have. Would you be kind enough to share this, please, Alex?
I will, mate.
And I shall welcome nobody in. So, hi, everyone. Welcome to Griffo's Retro Gaming with our. I do apologise, it's a free weekly one at the moment, but we will get back to the bi-weekly chat with Alex. Today we're going to be going into a deep dive with role-playing games, because I know that Alex is a big fan of role-playing games, as you can tell from the Triforce behind him. And myself, I grew up on role-playing games as well. But before we get into that, Alex, what have you been playing?
I actually was streaming earlier on tonight, and I've just finished the Echo S mod, of Final Fantasy VII that I've been playing for like weeks. So I've just finished that today, finished the final boss, and I've started Dragon Age Origins again. So which I'm going to be playing that again.
That's the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, the first one. I love the first one. It's miles better than any of the others. It's miles better.
What are you playing now? Update, or is that on the PS3?
No, that's on Steam, mate. I play everything on Steam now, just because I've got my PC.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm on Football Manager.
All right, yeah.
Started as St Mirren, so that's a fun time. And I've started Fallout 4 again because I never completed it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I want to. It does look a bit better now. I think there's been an update, so it looks better on the Series X, but it just looks like a sharpened up 360 game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm going into. So, do you want to start with? No, I'll start because you've got one piece, I've got two. So,
okay.
The first bit of news, which I'm quite surprised by, is for the Game Awards. The big news that Game of the Year could actually go to a DLC.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? I don't think it should have been included at all.
No, not in
Yo,
that.
Raptor. Yeah, running tonight.
That's good. Yeah, it's a bit strange, in it, to be having a DLC as Game of the Year. I mean, you're pushing out actual games.
Yeah, I agree. And there's been a lot of games this year as well across all the platforms that should be in there, really. I think there should be their own section for like DLCs and remakes and all that, because even Rebirth, which I think is actually going to win it, it's a remake. It's a game that we've had before. So as good as it is, potentially, it should have its own category for like DLCs, remakes, things like that. I don't think it should definitely not a DLC. Definitely not a DLC. That should be nowhere near it.
No, but, fair enough to all the others. But I think on the Golden Joystick Awards, they do actually have their own DLC.
Yeah.
But I don't know what people in the chat think, but can we have our own EA games?
Shittest games of the year. Never mind game of the year.
Wait a minute, you're playing an EA game?
Yeah, back when it was good.
Yeah, when it was good.
Back when they were good, not now. No.
What's your bit of news, Alex?
My bit of news is gone. I don't know where I've put it. Hang on. Sniper Elite. There we go. They was going to do a battle royale game in the style of like Sniper Elite, where the snipers have their own drift and things like that. You got to like adjust for like wind speed and things like that. And there was meant to be a battle royale game, which they've cancelled, unfortunately.
How would that work?
I have no idea, mate. If I'm honest, I'm gonna a massive map where people just pinging at each other across the map. But yeah, for some reason it's cancelled. I'm trying to figure out why. It doesn't really say why. It just says it's cancelled. But they've had like the series itself has been really popular.
Yeah,
it's planned to expand the series into a multiplayer game space. No longer moving forward. It doesn't say why. It just says that it's been cancelled. Loss of funding. There we go.
Bit of a head scratcher because battle royale games are usually quick, aren't they? And the map closes in, obviously, to try and get you all in
Yeah, it wouldn't. I don't think it'd really make sense in with a sniper game. I mean, obviously you get snipers in battle royales at the minute, but
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
it's not just you can, but just snipers. It'd be really strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, bit of a weird one.
Yeah, it's a bit. Okay. So my last one, which I think you'll really enjoy, is well, I say you'll enjoy. You'll probably shit the bed like I did, but Pokemon Gold and Silver, 25 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Really old. Apparently, they're remaking the remake for that. Remaking them again. Remaking.
Re-release it as well for the 3DS.
Yeah, so they're gonna remake Heart Gold and Soul Silver apparently, which just blows my mind. How they can remake a remake. Like giving me PTSD from the old Warzone with it. Yeah, he was awful. That's why, mate. God awful.
Yeah,
it as well.
With it being Soul Silver and Heart Gold, the whole thing that made it even better was the Poker Walker, I believe.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that aspect of the game. But
yeah,
I don't know how that'd work these days. Unless they're going to give you another Poker Walker or you use your phone or something. I don't know.
I mean, you wouldn't need to do it with a Poker Walker, would you? Because I think with the technology they've got now, there'd be some easier way to do it, which is built into the Switch or whatever they're going to release it on.
Well, let's go back to this section. It'll probably be like DLC.
Yeah, unless they maybe are thinking about releasing a gold and silver for like they did for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Might be a gold and silver version of that, maybe. I don't know. But,
yeah, that'd tie in well with Pokemon Go, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because there is Pokemon Go have got a load of new things they're releasing as well. I've heard. I don't know what there's not much information.
But yeah, I mean, 25 years.
I know. I was saying like this. I played this Final Fantasy VII playthrough. Last time I played it was 20 years ago. Like that's the last time I played Final Fantasy VII. So it was like a completely new game to me again because I just couldn't remember any of it. But 20 years, I'm not that old, man. I am. I know.
So I guess both of those games lead nicely on to the main subject of tonight, which is role-play games, Alex. And
it is, yeah.
I know you're a massive fan. So how did you get into RPGs?
So the very first RPG, I mean, I don't know if you can class it as an RPG, but I guess you can. It was more of a tactical RPG than like an action or a turn-based. Well, I guess it was turn-based. Was my dad played it at Christmas one time. Was it Christmas or New Year? I think it was New Year. My dad was playing it at New Year, and I was just sat watching him play Vandal Hearts 2. Vandal Hearts 2. One of the closer to the time it's set in from release than from release to now. Jesus Christ. So yeah, Vandal Hearts 2 was my first ever RPG, and it was a tactical game where the enemies moved at the same time as you, and you had to predict the movements and which enemy would move first. And I was hooked from then on. From then on, I went on to Final Fantasy. I went on to all of them. I know I say I'm a big RPG fan. It's mainly Final Fantasy fan than RPGs in a whole. And Dragon Quest.
Well, I mean, this goes on nicely. So there's different types of role-playing games, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's the one you've just mentioned. Vandal Hearts sounds more like a tactical role-playing, a strategic one, which is closer to the board game type role-playing game. But you do have the JRPGs, which you prefer. Like, was Suikoden?
Suikoden. Yeah, Suikoden. I love Suikoden. What a game that was. Suikoden 2 is close to being the best game ever for me. Close. Really good game. Don't beat Final Fantasy X, but... Oh, it's Jumbo McJumbo. That must be Sam. Because it's wrong. Yeah, it's a wrong opinion. It's not at all. They've got some shit games, yeah, I agree. They've got some really good games, yeah, I agree. And they've got the best game ever in Final Fantasy X. So,
8.
8. How did you guess? Right.
But yeah,
Yeah. So, go on.
there's also action RPGs, which I really, really enjoy as well. But what makes an RPG? Because
What?
I've had this debate a few times, and I'll get onto it with Fallout.
Go on.
Okay, so I think recently, in the past like 10, 15 years or so, they've watered down role-playing games, or a lot of them, a lot. And
Yeah.
the biggest culprit of that had to be Fallout / Skyrim. Maybe not so much Oblivion, but definitely Skyrim. They were just far too linear for me. And a role-play game, to me, is about choices within the game. Not just about how you develop your character. It's about how your character acts and behaves and the pathway that you go down. And I was very disappointed with Fallout 4 because it gives you options, but the conversation loops if you take
the wrong option.
Yeah, and you just go back to that. So what is the point in putting it there?
Yeah.
With Fallout New Vegas, you could do so much in that. And one example is, I don't know if have you played New Vegas?
I've not played any Fallouts. None.
Okay, so there was one where you meet a guy called Boone. He's a sniper, as we go on about that. But you've got to find out who murdered his. I think it's his wife. I'm thinking back to, and the way you have to go and investigate, and you can take anybody there. So it's up to you. If you want to be evil, you can put someone you don't like there.
Yeah.
You'll pop them off and think that he's avenged his wife's death, and I think that is, a great example of a role-playing game.
Okay, so that's more like an open world role-playing game. Is that you completely control the narrative as it is? So in terms of that, that's probably why you like Baldur's Gate as much as you do then.
Yes.
Because Baldur's Gate is just literally your choice affects absolutely everything that happens.
Yeah, and you can choose to be evil as well. It's rock hard, but you can do that. Level scaling.
So like you're saying this when the same enemies get stronger, as in like if you was fighting a rat at the beginning and it's a one-hit kill, compared to if you go back to the same place and fight the same enemy and it's stronger. Is that the kind you mean with level scaling, or do you mean like if you go to a place you get a rat at the beginning and then at the end of the game you go back and there's like a minotaur there or a dragon instead? Is that what type you mean with enemies leveling up with you? Yeah. It depends on which one he means with that. If it's the rat getting stronger, I agree. There is absolutely no point in leveling up. If it's replacing the enemies with stronger enemies that look stronger and are stronger, then I think I prefer that to just random, you can beat a god with your character and yet you go get beat by a rat from the very first area of the game. It's just like, nah, no thanks. Yeah. But no, I like level scaling. I like it to a degree. I'd like it to a degree, but I understand what you're saying in terms of that. The whole point is to get stronger so that you can just smash everything, innit?
Yeah, and I don't mind what they're doing Fallout, where you have a certain area which is real easy, and the further you go into the map, the harder it gets.
Yeah,
but you still go out to the easier bits.
Yeah, I like RPGs like Final Fantasy. I'm going to go back to Final Fantasy. Did it really well at the start of their Final Fantasy games, like 1 and 2. If you went into a wrong area in Final Fantasy 1, you would get murdered. You would get absolutely slaughtered. Suikoden 1, if you drifted too far to the right of the way it wanted you to go, there was ridiculously strong enemies which would kill you. And you had to literally make sure you stayed within a certain area, otherwise you get murdered. I like that. I like thinking, if I get strong enough, I can go to these areas, but I'm just not ready to go there yet. That's the kind of thing I like. It's a little bit less... It's still linear because it's kind of locking you into a direction, but it's not, because if you put the time in, you can go over there.
you can, and you can go to a slightly harder area and pick off some of the weaker, harder enemies, if you like. Best way I can describe it, and level up that way to make it easier to go through the beginning if you wanted.
See, I'm big on grinding levels. I love getting stronger than I should be to make the game easier. It makes me feel a real sense of accomplishment when I'm just absolutely smashing the bosses because I've leveled up to a point where it's silly. Like I just finished Final Fantasy VII today on my EcoS run. I was level 96 when I finished the game. I beat the boss in 3 hits. Sephiroth at the end. I just bang, 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 gone, done, game over. I was like, yeah.
Well, that brings into Pokemon Yellow and the Pokemon games, the newer ones, because they've made them ridiculously easy with the XP share.
Yeah, they've built it in, haven't they? They built it into the fighting. Like you fight, you win a battle, and everyone gets experience, even if they haven't fought in the battle. Which I'm like, well, what's the point in that?
Yeah, because I always remember on the first ones, like slinging in a level 1 Pokemon at the beginning, and then
swapping it out and having to take that hit on your main Pokemon because you've swapped him out. It's like it almost makes leveling too easy, but at the same time, you don't spend time making them stronger because you don't need to, because you can just walk through the areas and everyone levels up in the same way. It's silly. You can just put a random Pokemon on your team, fight one battle, and it's evolving, and it's just like it takes away. I understand why they've done it, because they want to appeal to the younger players that don't maybe have don't have the energy, or we've made things too easy. It's just too easy, especially now we've got the internet where you can just search up when you get stuck. That drives me mad.
Like I was young when I was playing these games.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was. As I said that point, I was thinking. Well, no, I was 12 when I did it, and I smashed through it. You learn by failing, don't you? So it works.
Version is Fallout if you class that as an RPG. I do class Fallout as a
definitely.
RPG, yeah. And Pokemon Yellow. Yeah, Pokemon Yellow. Well, any of the Pokemons, they are technically JRPGs.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technically, they classed as it, but yeah.
Well, there's a big Zelda fan, aren't you, Alex? What gives it away?
Oh yeah, is it a massive Triforce on the back of my wall?
I've played a fair bit of Breath of the Wild with Mr. Mantis. Can we class? Yep.
Yeah, 100%. They all are. They all are. For me, if you're going to class, hang on, like I would define an RPG. Hang on, I've got it written down here. I've lost it. Never mind. But it's.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go, mate. It's fine.
I was just going to say with Zelda, it's I've lost my train of thought now, Alex. Yeah, you don't increase stats or anything with Zelda. No. Well, you get extra hearts, don't you? But
you do, yeah.
It's not a stat-based game.
No, you collect weapons, don't you? Instead, it's more like you go to, especially the older ones like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Twilight Princess, things like that. You go into a temple, you go through it, you find the item that's in the temple, and you go and fight the boss with that item. You won't be able to beat the boss without that item. It's all tailored to that area. But again, you're playing a role, aren't you? You're playing a guy who's going to try and save the princess and blah blah blah. So you're playing that role. I think really, you can class any game as a role-playing game. You go on to play FIFA, you are role-playing as a footballer. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I know you can't. But I'm being very, very broad there. But it's just, yeah. I think it's more like character progression, character exploration, the depth that you get from them. You learn about them, so you feel more immersed in it. And it becomes a part of your story. Do you know what I mean? You feel like you are a part of the story compared to like other games where you don't as much. Like Tekken, you don't feel like you're a part of the fight. You just know that you're fighting. Whereas this, you are a part of the story. The story shocks you. It makes you, feel emotions, and you become a part of it.
Yeah, and you can still make choices within the game as well. I suppose the Zelda games, especially in the past, were very linear.
Mm-hmm.
You had to go to certain temples, didn't you? But I know that's sort of eased a little bit, so you can go where you want and do what you want to a certain degree. Sam says, would you call the newer God of War games RPGs?
Action RPGs for me, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's not it's an action game, isn't it? Action RPG, it's what it is.
Predominantly.
Like I say, yeah. You just be, it's just plays a different way to other RPGs. I mean, like I say, I consider most games to be RPGs in like the thinnest of levels. But yeah, I would definitely class God of War as an RPG. Definitely.
The older ones, no.
See, I haven't played any of them. I've seen people play them.
In a way. What's this one? There's loads of games you level up health, weapons, and enemies get stronger. What are RPGs? So what actually is an RPG?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. I think it's more you making the decisions. It's more you making the decisions and affecting the story compared to other things where they are set. So like a game like Spyro is a platformer, it's an action game because that narrative is set no matter what. And that's why I think linear RPGs get a little bit more hate because you don't affect it as much. Like Final Fantasy X, I class as the best RPG of all time. It's my favorite game ever. But it's definitely not. You don't affect the narrative. The narrative's set as it is. But the way you level up and the way you expand the characters and you can choose which characters you use, it's really difficult to actually define. There is like... Go on. Say again, sorry. Your mic's cutting out slightly, mate. Sorry.
It could be within the fighting.
Yeah. Because so you control those characters, yeah.
Where a game like Spyro or like you mentioned, or Mario, whatever, there's no real strategy to the fight, is there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With a JRPG, for example, there's definite strategy there. You've got to think about healing, attacking, and spells. All who you're going to take in your party, because usually you can only take so many, and so characters. Massive headache in Dragon Quest. Like, who do you take? Because they're all really good.
Yeah, it's like I've just started Dragon Age Origins at the minute, and I've just got to the point where I've rescued Sten from his cage, and I've got Liliana, and I'm like, I don't know which one to take with me, and I'm like, they're both massively different characters, but I don't have room for both of them. So who do I take? Which one do I take? Which will fit my system, the system I'm trying to create? Yeah, you're right, Matty. You're right. Best leveling system ever. Too big, though. It was very big.
Yeah. Definitely within the fighting. I think that adds a lot to the RPG experience. But then with action RPGs, there's not that much strategy within the fighting, is there? Especially
not action ones.
To Zelda. There is strategy, but it's very, very thinly.
Because I mean, you can in Zelda, especially the earlier ones, you stick up your shield, you block, and you attack. Each enemy has their own specific weaknesses.
Yeah.
Which you just got to exploit, but it doesn't take much exploiting. No. There's some enemies where you got to use the hook shot to take off the shield, and then they're defenseless.
And what you know about dead easy, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, really, really dead easy. It's just one of them. You've got to again, I think that's another aspect of it, though, is that you have to think about what you need to do in order to progress, as if you are there doing it yourself. Whereas other games, like if you think of like the likes of Dynasty Warriors and things like that, those types of games, you are just mashing a button.
You are.
You are just mashing buttons, and the buttons will do whatever they do. Which is why I think the likes of Final Fantasy 16, which is one of the newer Final Fantasies, It's very much the Devil May Cry style of fighting, where it's combos and reactive, compared to a little bit more the active time-based fighting, like the turn-based that the older Final Fantasies used, which I prefer personally. But each to their own. I mean, there is so many different ways you can define an RPG. It's just certain aspects all put together.
So, yeah, he prefers immediacy of action.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess action RPGs is for Sam.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not a bad thing. There's a lot of really good ones.
You get a lot of adrenaline from action RPGs because you know that one, especially good ones, that if you make one wrong move, you are going to get punished for it. Especially in the likes of like Demon Souls and the Dark Souls games, which I would class them as RPGs as well.
Yeah.
You get punished. If you make a mistake, you get punished, and I really like that. And it means you've got to really hone your skills to be accurate, to be good at it, which is it's tough. It's really tough.
There was, I can't remember what there was on the PSP, but they were really good as well. No, I can't remember.
Fair enough.
That's how good they were.
Did you
go on.
Did you play Hogwarts Legacy?
I have, yes.
What did you think of Hogwarts Legacy?
I've not completed it, but I did enjoy it. Yeah. Got a bit repetitive at times.
Yeah,
but that's the criticism.
Yeah, they classed that as an RPG, and that really bugged me because it is an RPG, but your choices in that game mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You could make a choice and it would play out the exact same way. I could literally use the killing thing in front of somebody and they wouldn't even blink in the school. Like, I'd be walking around Hogwarts casting the killing curse and people would be like, yeah, nah, whatever. There was no reaction to it. They went around they went about their little square of movement no matter what happened around them. And that was just, it could have been so good. And they put so much effort into the area and the Hogwarts itself. They made it in such great detail.
It did look
it did look really good, yeah. And I think they just forgot about everything else, and it just kind of fell a little bit short for me in terms of that one because it could have been brilliant. Harry Potter has got such a wide fan base that you could have made an absolute killing with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
There you go, Sam.
You make a really good point about that. What Sam said. I tried playing Hogwarts as a bad guy, but you can't.
Just don't give you that option. Yeah. You could literally pick the bad option where you was ridiculously rude to someone or try and kill someone, and it just goes, nah, you're not doing that. That's not what we want you to do. And it really breaks the immersion of the game for me. It really takes you out of it because your choices don't matter. There is no nemesis system. There is no point to your choices. The same thing's going to happen if you choose it gives you the options. That's what bugs me. In fact, it gives you the options and it just doesn't take you in any other direction with them.
Yeah, that ain't an RPG in my opinion. Then.
No, I agree. Yeah,
I know you learn new spells and whatnot, but you need to be able to do certain things, don't you? As well, there's a lot of nuances, isn't there? Really, when you think about it, but
I think that's why. You think about certain games, and when I've said that I class most games as an RPG, I think it just takes a lot of different things combined together to make an RPG. So like Matty said earlier, yeah, you can level up in, like Sam said, you can level up in God of War. You get loot, but maybe it's not classed as an RPG because it doesn't have the other things that need to make an RPG. It's just bringing a lot of things together as one, which makes it. I don't know. I'm just talking up my ass. I often do.
No, you're not, because if you think about certain RPGs, so you could maybe put, when you level up, you can put stats into dexterity, say. And that might be because you want to play the game as a thief.
Yeah.
Or as, in stealth. Or you could put it into strength, which means you just want to be a fighter.
Yeah.
And, that's another way that the role-playing aspect comes into it, because you're role-playing a character, aren't you? That you've made.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's the reason why Baldur's Gate 3 was so well received, was because they gave you literally every option under the sun. You could do whatever you wanted in that game. You could kill your characters. You could kill everybody and carry on. Do you know what I mean? They really had so many different branches that you could travel down, and you would get a different story every time. The replayability of Baldur's Gate 3 is crazy good just because there's so much you could do. Like, I'm playing Dragon Age Origins at the minute, and I'm discovering scenes I've not seen before by picking a different option. And I've played it for years. And I'm like, I've always tried to play a certain way in that game, and I've missed out on a chunk of the game because I've always played the same way. It's yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, that's absolutely right, Sam. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You've got to have a point, a change to the story, haven't you? Your choice needs to be able to change the story somehow.
Absolutely, yeah. This is what I was on about with the Fallout aspect, and the fact that it's linear kind of Fallout 4, that is, kind of takes away from the game. What's that? Roguelite.
RPG.
Okay, right, yeah. So
RPG light, if it's saying, yeah.
No, it's absolutely right. You definitely need to be able to make choices, or else it's a linear game, and that's. Well, then, like we mentioned, I'd say Zelda, especially the old ones, are linear games.
And yeah, and the new ones, the Breath of the Wild and the Tears of the Kingdom. What I often find, what's the point? So you've got these massive open world games, and I don't really see the point of them because what are you going around collecting? You're collecting freaking Korok seeds, which are literally shit. Little fucking pieces of turd. The weapons that break after a couple of uses, which I don't mind that as a mechanic, but I liked the idea of going into somewhere, collecting an item that unlocked different areas of the game elsewhere in the map, which, you open doors across the map. So although it was linear, it opened different things. Whereas Breath of the Wild, they gave you everything you needed to go everywhere in the game immediately. And it was just like, well, why do I need to explore then? What is the point of my exploration? It's not going to make me any stronger. It's going to give me maybe a stronger weapon that's going to break in 2 uses, and I've got to go find something else. I was not as impressed with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom as everyone else seemed to be. They were good. They were good games. But open world games are really starting to think are a bit shallow in their actual gameplay.
Absolutely.
Like I've spent hundreds of hours on Breath of the Wild because I collect everything. That's what I do. I'm a collector. But why? Why did I do that? What's it got me? What's it got me out of the game? Collecting everything there has not enhanced the narrative. It's not made the experience better. It's nothing, there's been nothing gained from it. And I'm just like, yeah, people obsessed with map size, but no substance. What Matty's just said.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for gifting it to me. Breath of the Wild.
Didn't I? Yeah, I did. Yeah. I remember that, yeah. Jeez.
I still got it. Still play it. But I really enjoyed it. But all your points are valid there. And with Breath of the Wild especially, it seemed so empty. So big, yet empty.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point was it was a post-apocalyptic Hyrule, where these creatures have taken over and Calamity Gamon's taken over, and there wasn't enough people in it. There was no main, like the villages were sparse, the towns were sparse. Tears of the Kingdom was better for it, still quite short, and it was just empty. It was just the same enemies everywhere you went. There was very little variety in enemies. To the point where all they did was change the color of the enemies to show they were stronger.
Yeah, that is a good.
Yeah. The amount of, again, Tears of the Kingdom did it better. They introduced more enemies, more variety. But I understand why it was probably quite weak in terms of that, with it being the first of its kind for a Zelda game.
Yeah.
But, you look at Link to the Past has got more immersion in than a much more powerful, larger area. And it's just like, why? Why is that?
And the thing with Link to the Past as well is that you play the same map, but it's like dark. It's evil, isn't it? And it makes
it changes a lot.
World. Yeah.
Yeah. The Ubisoft approach, exactly. The old Ubisoft. I mean, I've not played any of the modern Assassin's Creeds. I tried to play Ragnarok.
I've not.
Oh, so boring, man. So boring. I was just wandering this world, collecting plants, thinking, why am I doing this? Where am I going? What am I doing? There's nothing to collect. There's nothing to do. It was just pointless.
I like Far Cry, but you're right. It's just the same thing over and over again.
Almost to the point where you think, well, maybe I should just carry on with the story just to see if it gets any better. And it just wasn't getting any better for me.
Absolutely. When the first ones came out, up until
first
about
2, I really enjoyed.
Yeah, 3 was the American one, wasn't it? American Revolution.
Oh, no idea.
I think that's when it started getting stale for me, because it was more or less the same all the time anyway. But then I played the ones on the Vita as well, which were more of the same,
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, dear.
So, what's the worst you've ever played, and why? There's a good one.
Oh, that's a question. Jesus. Do you have an answer for yourself for this one? Because I have to think.
Do you need to think?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Fallout 4.
Oh, really? You're going that? Wow, that's a big call, because people like it. I understand that people like Fallout 3 more than...
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, more than that. Oh, jeez, I can't think of one.
Right, so for the people that missed it earlier, I compare Fallout 4 to New Vegas quite a lot, because New Vegas gave you options of things to do. I gave Alex an example earlier where you get a character called Boone who's trying to figure out who killed his wife. I think it's his wife or his daughter, either or. And you've got to find who it was, but it lets you take anybody from the little village and or little area, Novak, it was. He pops them off, but he doesn't know if you've got the right person or not. And
right,
that means you can take advantage of it. You can get someone there who owns the hotel and, get them killed. That means you can then go and take all their stuff. And it's just a little example, but it definitely makes the game better and more immersive, where Fallout 4 is just the missions, go over there, get that, come back. Same with Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim is very much fetch quest. Like, especially when the very first, like, what's the word? Like, the people you meet, the companions, I can't remember what's the word for it, like a group you join. But anyway, the groups you join, the companions. Yeah, I know the name. I just can't think of the overall hatch. So the companions, it's like, okay, go rescue this woman from a cow that's attacking her. You come back, you collect your gold. Go rescue this man from a wolf that's attacking. I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this crap? And again, the Thieves Guild is exactly the same. It's just like, okay, we need to take back this city. Go rob this house. Go rob this house. Go steal this necklace. I'm just like, dull. Yeah. Compared to Oblivion as well, which everything you did seemed to have a point. All the side quests had a point. It affected the world around it. If you had to do a side quest, one of the characters is going to be gone because you're going to have to kill them, and then they're not going to be in the game anymore. And they offered you something. If you decide to do that side quest, you could lose a shop which had a specific type of item, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Your choices had a point, whereas in Skyrim there was very limited in point. To the point, Obviously, they kept their essential characters, but your choices had a point. Made a difference to the game that you was going to play.
I will say as well. Sorry, what's Dr. Mantis's name?
Matty.
I will say that I don't think Fallout 4 was a bad game. I'm currently playing it, but it was very disappointing after I'd played New Vegas, got so hyped, thinking they're going to sort this. It's going to be like New Vegas without the bugs. And then I was like, what the... And then they introduced the shelter building and stuff like that. I thought, am I playing...
playing Sims?
But yeah, that's not to say I think it's a bad game, because it isn't. It's just not as good as the ones before it. And that goes with Skyrim.
No, yeah. There was some very, very good points of Skyrim, absolutely. The stories were good. They were short, but they were good. They changed a lot of the mechanics that Oblivion introduced and made them better. There's a reason why it's still going now, as popular as it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Still reselling it on everyone's microwaves, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it was really good. To go back to your earlier question about what's the worst one I've ever played, it's probably Final Fantasy II, because I hated the leveling system. It was awful. Have you played it before? Do you know what the system was? On 2.
I've played it on the PSP.
Yeah, so the system on Final Fantasy II is you've got to use the skills. So if you wanted to use your sword, the more you use your sword, the more you level. But once you got to a certain level, the weaker enemies wouldn't level it up anymore. You'd have to go find stronger enemies, which is fine. But for a sword, some other skills, like your armor, well, you have to be attacked. Now, it wouldn't work if you died. So if you couldn't get attacked by the weak enemies to level up your skill, because it wouldn't level it up because they're too weak. And if you went to a stronger enemy, they would just kill you anyway, because your level wasn't high enough. So there was very little balance with it, and it was just a nightmare. Some skills to level up, you have to actively attack your own team to level them up. Because it was, and it was just silly. And the leveling system in it is absolutely awful, which is why I think they jumped to the job system properly after that, when it went to 3 and 4. Well, 3 was jobs.
I didn't really like the job system that much, though, to be honest. But
what, did you not?
No.
What? Why was that? Because that's very RPG.
Yeah, but I'm pretty boring when it comes to Final Fantasy. I'll have a fighter, spellcaster, healer, and then you've got all these other ones. And
usually a thief or like a monk or something, isn't it?
Yeah, rogue. Yeah, sorry.
A rogue,
And yeah, you had all these other jobs, and like, am I missing out on something here? And just it was like dual classing in certain games as well. I never dual class in Baldur's Gate. I always play a pure like fighter or rogue, like that. Yeah.
I was the same. I always used to go black mage, white mage, rogue, and warrior every time.
Yeah.
Every time. And again, if I unlocked a stronger warrior, like I would swap from a warrior to a knight, or a black mage to like a black sage or something, and I would always upgrade directly rather than going like, I never used a red mage, even though they were ridiculously powerful. A blue mage where you got to learn the abilities from enemies, I was like, nah, I can't be asked. But I do enjoy games where they assign the roles to specific characters. Like they did that in Final Fantasy IV and 6 and 7. Well, no, not as much 7. 9. They did it in 9. I do like it where they assign roles, because I think they're those characters and you adapt with those characters.
Yeah.
But again, it's less RPG being assigned roles, because you have to then play that role. So it's getting the balance right, isn't it? That's the thing. It's getting the balance right.
Yes. Sam asks, what did we think of Starfield?
I didn't play it.
I don't know if you've played it, Alex. I played about an hour of it, and just didn't do it.
What about Cyberpunk? Did you play that?
Yes. And that was going to be a point later. I really enjoyed it, but again, it was
fetch questy again.
Yeah. There was a lot of really interesting mechanics in it that didn't work so well to begin with. I have played it since on the series, and it is a lot better. I don't think it's a game I'm going to be going back to, though.
I haven't played it. I looked at it, and I kind of didn't get away from the issues at launch. It kind of turned me right off it. I was going to get it and give it a go, but I was like, nah, maybe not. Same with No Man's Sky as well in that regard. The issues at launch, like they made out, it's how they portray the games. They made out that it was going to be this big open, travel to an infinite amount of worlds, and there's going to be stuff to do on every world. And I'm just like, wow, that sounds amazing. And when you get there, it's an empty world with a few collectible plants on it. And I'm like, oh, not again with the plants. But so yeah, that turned me off, and I never went back to it. Although now a lot of people say it's absolutely spectacular. So it's really good, but I've never had the inkling to go back because of how they ruined it when they started. Again, releasing games before they're ready.
Yeah. What do you think to tactical ones?
I love them. Yeah. Like I say, the very first one I ever played was a game called Vandal Hearts 2, and that is ridiculously tactical. Final Fantasy Tactics, like it's in the name, ridiculous, like really tactical. I play a lot of Age of Empires, which I think is, again, it's less RPG, but more tactical. I love tactics-based games. I really enjoy them. I think they're really, really good.
Have you played... what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, you played Tactics Ogre.
No, I haven't, actually. No, that's one that's been on my list for forever, and I've never just got around to playing it, but I got to. I really got to.
I think it was Mark Guy who was saying that's a really good game. I've not played it either, but
I think Mark Guy also mentions Final Fantasy Tactics as the best Final Fantasy. I think that's his. It might be him, or it might be Luke. One of the two. Both of them say they're really good games, but yeah, Tactics is brilliant. Tactics is brilliant. I'm going to assume that Tactics Ogre would be as well.
I like the PSP.
Yeah, I've got it on my Vita. I think because I've got a modded Vita, so I've got loads of games on that.
What's the one on the GBA?
What?
Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy Tactics came out for every handheld console, I think.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was on the GBA. I'll have a quick look now, though.
There is maybe 2 on the DS. I think it's 2. It might just be 1.
Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Advance, yeah.
Yeah. So that came out in 2003. That was 21 years ago. GBA was 21 years ago. Fucking hell. Shoot.
It's an adult.
Oh, shoot me.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy how it goes.
It is indeed.
Yeah, my love affair, it obviously started with... no, it didn't obviously start with that. It started with Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Yeah, mine too as well.
My real love affair with role-playing games was Baldur's Gate, and that came from my dad, who didn't like me playing Football Manager. He hated football, so he goes, why don't you play this, Baldur's Gate? It was the second one I played as well, and yeah, I was like, wow, this is fantastic. Just the choices. Mr. Murray's in.
He is indeed. Hello, Mr. Murray. How's things? What's your favourite ever RPG, Mr. Murray? But
Baldur's Gate. And then there was a slightly different one with, I don't know if you've heard of it, Icewind Dale.
I heard of it, not played it.
So that's pretty much the same, but it focuses more on the combat rather than the story. So there's very little interaction between the characters, but still a good story.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like I say, I'm going back to Vandal Hearts 2. There is a lot of story in Vandal Hearts. There's a lot of very text boxy, massive talking between characters because obviously, and it's just a lot of reading. Like the cutscenes take a good 10, 15 minutes between each one of just constant text box streaming. So if you're not into that kind of reading and streaming, it's not for everybody. It's definitely not for everybody.
I'm told Kingdom Hearts is like that.
Yeah. I've only played the first one of Kingdom Hearts. It was a bit too childish for me. That was.
I've not played it, believe it or not.
Yeah, I would, Sam. If you haven't played it, get it. It's a really, really good game. You don't need to know D&D to be able to play Baldur's Gate, because it explains everything to you. All that basically happens is you have a situation. Someone will ask you a question. It'll be like, and your rolls, the dice rolls, will affect whether it's a positive or a negative outcome. So you could try persuade someone to let you pass without having to fight them. You have a roll. If you roll a 10, you'll get little boosts. You'll get a 15. You'll go on through. If you roll a 1, your little boost don't take you above the threshold. You'll end up having to scrap or pay some money or something. It's a really good way. There is so many options. And if you really want to do a particular option, you just save it and then reload the save. A lot of people do that. I think it's called save scumming or something.
Yeah.
Everyone does that. But I wouldn't recommend doing that in the first playthrough. I would just let the story go where it goes, and it'll be a real surprise every step of the way. 100%.
Do you actually see the dice roll, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't on the old Baldur's Gate. It's all in the background.
Oh, is it? No, it shows you the dice roll. It's like a little area of the screen.
Yeah, that's only for fighting. If you wanted to try and persuade someone, it just goes on what your persuasion is.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I think on this one you get bonuses. So, like, if you're a particular character, so if you're more charismatic, you get bonuses on the roll. So if you need to hit a 15 and you roll a 10, depending on your charisma and your personality, it'll give you a particular bonus, which might get you above the threshold. So
yeah, there's the advantages to certain weapons, armors, and items,
and classes and things like that. Yeah, Sam, I double down. If you've not played that kind of game before, and it's a really nice entry point into D&D as well. I found a lot of people liking to go to it if they haven't done it before, because of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not like big on D&D tabletop or online. I know the monsters. The monsters are great, but I've never actually got into the game to play myself with anybody. I just really like it.
One type of RPG we haven't mentioned is the old school dungeon crawlers. Do you like those?
I can't. Give me an example, because I can't think of any at the minute.
So the old D&D, Eye of the Beholder was one. There's Legend,
so the ones that,
which is a new one. The Might and Magic.
Yeah, they're a bit. They're not exactly my thing. I've not played many of them at all. No, I genuinely can't think of one I have played. I don't play Diablo.
Yeah,
I've never played Diablo.
I have done. Really like it.
Would you class the likes of Destiny as an RPG?
I have never played Destiny. I've only heard bad things about it, to be fair. So,
I've heard it was very, very addictive. Number one was ridiculously addictive in terms of, because it was like an online one, and everyone who seemed to like that really liked it, and everyone who didn't. But I don't like them. Yeah, but I mean, like, really didn't. The ones who liked it were obsessed with it.
Yeah,
that's all they wanted to do.
But yeah, I do
what they call like looter shooters, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
that's Destiny.
Yeah, what about online RPGs? Have you ever played
like MMO style?
Yeah. Which one did I play? I played Elder Scrolls Online. I've not played the Final Fantasies.
No, I've not played any of the Final Fantasies because I don't really like playing with other people, if I'm honest.
No.
Gaming's not for socializing, which is weird because now I'm a streamer where people actually talk to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, I don't want to play a game with you. You know what I mean? Especially in RPG. I'm like, no, I don't understand it. So I've never played Final Fantasy 11, never played Final Fantasy 14. I've never played. Well, I can't remember the one you just said. Not played any of them.
Man.
Yeah, I played Elder Scrolls for like 2 minutes, and I couldn't beat one of the bosses because I didn't have anyone with me. And I was like, well, how do I get past it then?
Yeah.
I'm on my own. I'm not going to get anyone to come play with me. So how am I going to get past this? And I stopped playing.
I did when I was playing it online. I just stuck to myself. And Fallout 76, I did play with.
Oh God,
who was he? Lee
and, Houghton. He was obsessed
Matt
with it.
well.
Yeah, I don't know. I never.
Who was admin on? Oh, what's his second name?
Oh, Mark Makin.
No, Matt.
Matt.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Anyway,
no.
yeah. I was playing with them for a bit, and then I just always found myself just on my own, really.
Yeah, it's just like the fort builders like Rust and Ark. Nah, not for me. Not for me.
Matt Cooper.
Cooper, that's it. Yeah, God, that's a blast from the past. Yeah, no, not for me. That.
Tom's not said what his favourite RPG is yet.
Nah, probably not.
But yeah, it's just an interesting little topic I thought we'd have a chat about. Cause,
yeah, I've really enjoyed it, mate.
Yeah. We probably could go further in. What's this? Oh, I know Sam in.
I remember some of the arguments, discussions, shall we say, that you had with Lee Houghton about it. It was comical, absolutely comical.
It did improve it, to be fair, but yeah, it was.
Well, yeah, but again, the same thing, isn't it? They're releasing games before they're ready, and then improving them, and you lose half your player base because they won't come back to it. Just release it when it's ready.
Okay, yeah, we was on about this, so I should have done the topic for this tonight, but I only found out tonight. It's going to be the DS, which is 20 years old.
Nice one. Brilliant. Makes me feel so old. Oh, there he is.
There you go. I've not played, though.
Never heard of that.
I don't know if they've had a remake or there's some new ones, but I have seen there is some for like the newer systems. A lot of an old one for you, Shadowrun. You used to love that on the SNES. Cyberpunk.
I've played I think 3 games on the SNES, and it's mainly linked to the past for me. That's it. That's all I needed.
Mystic Quest.
Oh, I don't think so. What, Final Fantasy?
It was a Final Fantasy game, I believe, but it was just.
Do I have it?
Mystic Quest. It was a Square game as well, but that I'm told was a way to try and get people into the Japanese roleplay games because it was really easy to get into.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. What about the comparison between like Western and Japanese RPGs, like the different styles? Because have you seen like the styles of like Final Fantasy compared to not even RPGs, but Japanese to Western games? Like I see a lot of people on some of the groups I am complaining the way they make the characters on Japanese, like the likes of Tifa and Aerith in Remake, compared to like the way they made Mary Jane in Spider-Man. Get absolutely slated. And it's like they've gone out of their way to, like, in Japanese ones, they over-sexualize the characters. It's like Western ones deliberately go the other way so that they're not sexualized. And I'm just like...
These days. Could you imagine that these days?
I know, that's what I mean. It's ridiculous.
There's an army of blue-haired people. Like,
Crazy.
But no, I think Japanese ones are the best.
Yeah, they are.
But there is some good Western ones as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying they're not bad games because of the characters. I'm just saying that more often than not, like Horizon. Is it Horizon?
Yeah.
They make their characters always look a certain way. And kind of play. I don't know if they're trying to play it more on the game itself rather than how the characters look, because I would say a good 60-70% of the fan base for Rebirth have come from that beach scene with Tifa and Aerith. Like, literally, the only reason why they play the game was for that scene, because everyone's dirty perfs. Yo, you'll know what I mean. You'll have seen it. Jesus. Like, they've definitely played on the pixels from Tifa in the Final Fantasy VII days on the PS1. Definitely played on them pixels.
Well, no, yeah. Yeah, I think the Kings are definitely the Japanese when it comes to role-player games, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
100% agree, yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll leave it there, Alex.
Yep, no worries, mate.
We've been an hour, but yeah, I think we'll go for DS next time. We'll see. I might change my mind.
Well, yeah, just whatever comes up.
Yeah, it's just about the chatting. So I just want to thank everyone for joining us. Really enjoyed it. Don't know about you, Alex, but I did.
No, definitely. Really enjoyed it. Really good fun. I enjoy them every time. Like, it's just real nice to talk about games. Like, don't talk about them with Rosie because she's not bothered, but it's nice to actually have a chat about gaming.
Why did you marry her?
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
But yeah, yeah, I am enjoying these. Hopefully, we can get more people in the more we do it. So, but yeah, thanks to everyone for joining us, especially Sam and
Matty and Tom.
Matt, Tom as well. There was someone else, wasn't
there? Right at the start, wasn't there? There was Raptor, Gabriel.
Yeah, Raptor.
Good old Raptor.
So yeah, thanks a lot, everyone, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
See if it'll.